the guy who's the proverbial Captain Sable, right? Like he is steady on his path. He knows what he wants to do. He knows he has a mentor. He's working on his life. But he finds himself attracted to the project, the project in her, wanting to help her do better. I don't want to abandon her. I don't want to leave her. I don't want to reject her. I believe in her. She has so much potential. I could see us working. I'm so attracted to her. And they end up forcing it. And so he looks like he's trying to save her. And in terms of men changing, is because more men are saying she don't want to be saved, so don't save her.
It's crazy because sometimes you don't understand that things that you're doing as a kid is actually setting you up to be a successful adult. Mm-hmm. The power of alignment. Mm-hmm. And the problem is, in order to be in alignment, you must know yourself. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to tell you the other problem is most times your partner doesn't know themselves, especially at a young age.
Right.
What is the difference between people who just don't listen and people that need to be checked?
Sure. So I love reading the Bible as of late and looking at the original rule book, so to speak, around relationships and all the things. And one of the scriptures that always plagued me for a long time was the Bible talking about, that husbands ought to love their wives as they love themselves. And we've all seen people that don't love their partner as much as they love themselves, right? And when I see situations like that, I look at it as that person is treating their partner like it's an organ transplant that they're rejecting, that their body's rejecting. I'm rejecting you, right? Every time somebody needs an organ, you just can't put any old organ inside your body, right? They got to do what? They got to look for your blood type.
Tests.
Right? They got to do some testings. They got to see what's going to be a match. That to me is purpose. If our purpose is aligned, right? The power of agreement just makes it that much easier. I stand the chance of the odds of me having to reject you slim out. So when someone isn't wanting to listen to a person or to their partner, it's because they're like an organ transplant in my life that I'm rejecting. We're not on the same path. We don't understand life the same way. We may not share the same values, principles. We cannot agree. And when I'm coaching gentlemen, I tell them all the time, if there is an agreement, if there is an alignment in a relationship, don't force it. Let that one go. Throw that one back in the water, right? Like go for the woman that chooses you. Go for the environment where there's agreement. I know sometimes, especially people who are in young relationships, they think that when you are debating, it's an invitation for passion, right? Like, we can debate, we talk. That is gonna phase out real quick. That gets tired really quickly. What we're actually looking for is unity, harmony, and agreement, right? So that rejecting concept is literally because we're not on the same page. We don't share the same purpose. You're going over here on in this area, and I'm over here. You understand? You feel what I'm saying? Like, if I'm like, you'll see the proverbial Christian woman that's dating the man who's still chopping it up at the club. Y'all not aligned. When he's partying on Saturday, he's coming home 4:00 in the morning. You're about to get up in 2 hours to get yourself to church, or vice versa. The guy who's the proverbial Captain Sable, right? Like he is steady on his path. He knows what he wants to do. He knows he has a mentor. He's working on his life. But he finds himself attracted to the project, the project in her, wanting to help her do better. I don't want to abandon her. I don't want to leave her. I don't want to reject her. I believe in her. She has so much potential. I could see us working. I'm so attracted to her. And they end up forcing it. And so he looks like he's trying to save her. And that's why what has happened, the phenomenon that's happened in terms of men changing, is because more men are saying she don't want to be saved, so don't save her. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing that strategy is ineffectual. And we are no longer in an industrial type of environment. We're moving into the phase of technology. The life and the rhythm of life is accelerating quickly, exponentially quickly, right? Like this week flies by. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of changes happen as a result. So that's why you cannot afford to invest in someone who naturally doesn't agree with you on the front end, hoping that they'll agree with you on the back end.
So although I do agree, I do want to, I feel like there's a bigger thing that's happening right now, a phenomenon, and specifically speaking with technology and the influence that it has had on everybody's lives.
Yep.
And if I just were to correlate what you initially said, referring to that passage about a man loving his wife as much as he loves himself.
Correct.
I don't believe that most people even love themselves.
Exactly. Yep.
So I can't love you
Right.
as much as I love me. I don't even love me. Right. And I think that that's happening on both,
Absolutely.
perspectives, women and men. And so a woman wants to be like, yo, I want to listen to you, but I don't even trust my decision making in picking a partner.
Right.
So I don't even know if I'm right when I chose you. So now I'm resisting listening to you. And a man is saying the same thing on the flip side. So I do think that there's a lack of self-love, which is why you see that's one of the biggest trending things on all of social media, is self-love and people teaching themselves how to love themselves, right? When it's all starting from you and it's wrong, that's also your other foundation. Your inner self is not done right. It's not built right. And yet you seek to expand without the proper foundation set. And then you're wondering why you're running into these issues of having resistance when it comes to getting someone to listen to you or being receptive when someone is talking to you, right? And I think that when we get to this point where we understand, listen, your life may look great on social media. I cannot love myself less because I don't feel as accomplished as what you perceive.
Right. Perception. That's all.
Yeah, what you perceive to be. So I feel like a lot of that is taking a toll on people's confidence, self-love, and it's also affecting other areas in their life. Is bleeding over to their relationships, and they're not even being the proper partner for that relationship, even though they possess the ability to. That's why I think some people want to be saved. They don't know how to just grab the cape. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to hold on and just go into that direction. And, there's a bunch of different reasons, but that's just one of the things that I feel like I'm seeing happen right now.
And to touch on like what you were saying, could any of that be confused with like a person saying their partner is their balance? You know what I mean? Like the whole yin and yang effect. How someone's like, you said he goes to the club, she wants to go to church, or
Right.
the way you put that. What you're saying basically towards like the end where she's not listening, and they're just not agreeing on things? Or is it that she hasn't been listening this whole time and they may have trauma bonded and that's what's keeping them together?
She hasn't been listening the entire time because, part of the reason why we were talking about self-love, part of self-love is to accept yourself. That's what love is. It's acceptance, period. So when you're saying people don't love themselves, we're saying you don't accept yourself. So then we gotta double down now. So what is the acceptance involving? Like what is the context of it? Because what is the content? The context is acceptance. What is the content inside of that context of acceptance? And the content inside of it has to be your purpose. So if you know your purpose is that you are on this road of having a religious lifestyle and you so happen to choose someone who's outside of the bounds of that, you haven't been listening to anybody, not even yourself. Hence, Rico's point about trust, right? So I know, like, if I'm around someone who's like a general, right, and they are their word. If he said it, he's gonna do it. There's trust there. A lot of people they don't obey themselves. They do not obey themselves. So when you do not obey yourself, you can't count on yourself. When you can't count on yourself, when you see yourself in a relationship, you're already trying to see, I don't even know if I want to, plan this date or plan this trip a year out because we may not even be together because you're so inconsistent around your life. You are constantly disobeying yourself. You're constantly breaking your own promises. So of course you don't trust him. Of course you don't trust her because you refuse to obey yourself. So if you don't establish a rhythm of being able to honor your own word concerning your own life, but you're steady honoring anybody else's word, like I'll honor my boss. My boss says I got to be here from 9 to 5. You're honoring external outside of yourself. Nobody's taught you how to obey yourself. Of course, we're going to have the phenomenon that we're now seeing, which is why those types of people rule social media. There are a lot of people that exist on the earth. They do not have Facebook. They are not on Instagram. Every person that is on Instagram is not the entire population. There are a lot of people who are not drawn to social media. They're not drawn to creating a historical timeline of what they ate for Thanksgiving for the last 10 years. There are people that exist like that. And those people are more than likely very much entrenched in their purpose, and they recognize social media as a time killer, as a time stealer. They consider social media a thief. And when they identify it as such, they don't engage.
What about, and this is something that I've learned as of recently. There's a lot of people, including myself, who live backwards, right? And for example, let's say, I'm gonna just paint the picture. You have a man who goes out and he's always in a club, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're a church woman. But she knows the type of man that he is at his core. He's unwavering. When he's committed, he's committed. He's focused. He's very respected. He's loved by his peers. He contributes to his community. However, he does have some habits that are not conducive to him or the relationship. And maybe she's living backwards because she's banking, and it could be vice versa.
Sure.
That person is banking. Like, a lot of the qualities and traits that we actually want out of people come from the ugliest of situations, right? And when you want somebody that possesses these attributes, sometimes you have to wait it out with them, and like, hopefully, and this is the worst part, hopefully they grow through these phases and becomes the person that you see.
Potential?
I'm talking about potential, but it's also more so like,
Yeah, we give an X on that.
no, it's not really potential. But the thing is, potential is the only potential is to eliminate the bad habits, but it's also proven concept because all the actual attributes that you desire are there. They are there. They are prevalent. They're displayed on a daily basis within himself, within the relationship, and within his community.
And there's nothing to want.
But I'm saying,
If it exists or it doesn't, there's potential or it's established. I do not recommend any woman to be in a relationship with a man based on his potential, because now he has never agreed to the potential that you have assigned him to become. He was not part of the conversation. He did not understand what your mind was thinking when that inner recording was playing around and telling you, based on your interpretation of his characteristics, that would be self-serving to you. And then you realize as life goes on and time is running out and he hasn't displayed and become this potential that you've seen, that's where resentment comes from, and I don't recommend it. And he's looking at you wondering, what is happening here? He's not the man that you wanted him to be. He's not performing the way that you wanted it to because you made somebody up in your mind based on a character that you see yourself to be, that you're not even her.
so I think, although I do agree, I think we're having two different conversations.
That's why I asked you if it was potential.
No, because he is the person. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The person that she wants, he's possessing and displaying it on a daily basis.
That's not potential.
That's what I'm saying. But he has habits that she is not in alignment with. For example, going out late, coming home at 4 o'clock in the morning. Those habits that he has are not what she actually desires. However, the man that he is what she actually wants, right? So what happens is, when I say live backwards, I'm not saying that it's potential. There's proven concept right there. There's some men who want a great woman, but she has terrible habits, right? And it could be from the influence of her friends, right? But is she a great woman with them? Yes. Does she cook? Does she clean? Does she, fornicate? Yeah. Does she listen? Is she receptive? Yeah. But does she have terrible habits? Yes. Now, I think that there's also a time frame that we see a lot of people make or give, right, this leeway to their partner because of their habits. We're like, okay, we're waiting for them to kick the habit. They're already the person that I want, but I don't really align with their
And you leave
habits.
it alone.
It's not waiting for your partner to kick the habit. Are you setting your boundary? Are you communicating that this is a habit that you don't agree with, so that you two in a relationship can figure out whether this is going to work for you guys or not?
See, and I think we get to a point where we try to make it black and white, where there's agreement and then there's alignment, and they're not synonymous. I don't agree or disagree. I'm just not aligned to this habit. Can I live with it? Yes. Do I want to? No. But can I? Yes. So in a sense, it's a sacrifice. I'm willing to sacrifice this as long as I can get that.
In any relationship, you got to take the crooked with the straight.
Yes.
No one is going to be perfect all across the board. If that's something that you demand, you don't deserve to be in a relationship. We have to accept people's flaws. So if the conversation here is a person recognizes somebody has some flaws that they would rather they didn't have it, but it's not a deal breaker, it's just more of like a slight nuisance. My recommendation is to take that one on the chin, let it go, leave it alone. Don't major the minors. It's nothing to discuss. Leave it alone. If I have to talk about everything in my relationship, I don't want it. If every little thing that bothers you, if everything little thing that bothers you that doesn't resemble you, but you can live in it, it's not a deal breaker. I don't want to talk about it because now we don't have a relationship. We have a nuisance here. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna have some challenges, and that's the part where I love you despite and not because.
So I really thought about this because it's actually like the realest thing. Because the thing is this, although we say we don't want perfection, we're still striving for perfection. And the crooked has to be so small that it can't really be crooked. It's damn near straight.
To you.
I'm just...
Are you striving for perfection?
No. What I'm saying is by perfection, I'm not saying the perfect man. I'm talking about alignment. So you have to be perfectly aligned. That doesn't mean you have to be a perfect person. It's entirely different, right? You have to be aligned with what I desire and taking the crooked with the straight, right? So now, but the crooked cannot be like a heart rate monitor. It has to be damn near small, right? I've gathered this from the Cam Newton situation with his woman. I don't know if they're married or not. And they were saying like how he's cheating or he's admitted to be or having infidelity within their relationship. And she's like, I know the man that I have, right? Now, not saying that it's a deal breaker for her, but maybe that I would assume, and I'm assuming, right, that she would prefer him to only be with her, sleep with her. I'm assuming. But there's women like that across the across the world, right? That would say, I would prefer my man to only be with me, but I can live with the fact of infidelity. So now the crooked and the straight, now that's what I'm saying. As a person, they are what you want. They do exactly what you would love a man to do. However, they have a piece of them that is very crooked that you're willing to live with, but you know that it can't or it can, but you know that the odds of it lasting forever is slim. So some people are in relationships living backwards. They're starting from the end result and they're waiting, they're going through the process because they know what it could be, or they also know the opposite, which is what they've been living with forever or however long they've been with them anyways, which is not a deal breaker. But they're willing to bank on that. They're willing to bank on the fact that it will phase out.
So to me, that sounds like you're setting yourself up for self-sabotage because you know who you get in a relationship with. You know who this person is, and that little part that you're allowing to happen is really killing you inside. So one, you must not love yourself enough to even be staying there throughout the whole relationship and dealing with that. And two, if you're going from backwards to forward, it's not going to die and then grow. You know what I mean? Because backwards to forward is like you start with death and then you're reborn, you're rebirth. It's impossible to think that you are going to meet someone and this idea of perfection, and you say perfectly aligned. I've never believed in perfectly aligned personally, because a person is a person is a person. And if I'm not 100% myself, and I don't know 100% of myself, I may know 80% of myself, but I can't expect you to align with that 80% of me, because you could only align with that 20% of me. So either way, we're not going to mesh. So the perfectly aligned thing is a myth in my opinion. Now, realistically, in my 40s, I will say I'll take a 70% aligned and deal with that other 30% that's like, yo, she's a human. I'm not 100% myself, and I just got to take that on the chin. And I'm not going to complain about it because of my experience in life, and I want to be with somebody that wants me. So this person wants me, and I got my own flaws, and you got to deal with that.
In a sense, what we're saying is we're taking the greater good for the greater and sacrificing the greater bad, or the lower bad, right? And it's like, I'm willing to live without this 30%. I know I can. So, and I think that's what I'm saying. I know I can live with this 30% missing. And whatever they're doing that is not in alignment with that 30%, I can take on day by day. But that does not defeat the fact that ideally we would like for that 30% to fizzle, right? Whether it goes down from 30% to 10 to 20, we still, and I don't care what anybody says, we're accepting people to be flawed. But that doesn't mean that you're accepting the ultimate reality of you will love a whole of alignment.
You said we're living backwards, and I don't think you're living backwards, because ultimately we do want a successful relationship. And if you go in there with the mindset of, listen, this ain't going to work. 'Cause your way sounds like we're going in there knowing it ain't going to work because it's not the type of man I really want, and I'm just
No, I'm
wasting
saying
my
it
time.
is the man that you
Right.
want. I've been said that. He's doing everything.
The only distinction that I heard between the two of you guys is that y'all's statement sounds very similar. One distinction is that on your side, you're saying that that person is likely going to hope that whatever those nuances are that I hate, that over time it'll begin to dissolve, and then I'll actually have my 100%. What I'm hearing you say is that they have some attributes that I don't like, and I'm going to respect it, bar none, full stop. I'm not going to tamper with it.
Exactly.
Take it on the chin. That's it. I'm not going to manipulate or hope that it gets manipulated in some form or fashion to serve me.
Yes.
They are who they are. That's it. And I think that is the evidence of true love. If you need to be the most like me for me to love you, for me to accept you, right? Because we established that love means I accept you, right? And I need that. There's likely a lot of codependency there. So either I'm gonna, Gottman, they are wonderful. They're an institute and they do a lot of work around marriages and relationships. And they've already mentioned that 30% of your relationship you agree on. The other 70% is like you have to manage it. You have to manage it. That management is where there's emotional regulation. That management is when we get to check each other. That management is being able to say like, yeah, I don't agree everything about you, but we're good. Like we don't have to argue about everything. We don't have to discuss everything. If I have to talk about everything that bothers you and we have to talk about who I could potentially be, I don't want to be in a relationship like that. Because then that just shows that we're forcing it. We're out of alignment we're out of agreement. The best way to have a healthy relationship that runs like a well-oiled machine is I know my position, you know your position. We don't need to have two quarterbacks. I'm not going to go any further on the sports stuff because I'm going to lose y'all because I don't know nothing about no sports. But you feel what I'm saying? You understand? Yep. Like I can respect your position, you respect my position. And this is where we discuss our strengths, weaknesses, and who's going to tackle and take care of what. I don't need you to run my position the way I run my position. I need you to run your position to the capacity that you can. And I need to boost you and encourage you and remind you that you got this, that you can do this. Or do you have this, right? Because everything doesn't have to be like, oh, you got this. So like those blanket motivational statements that we make in relationships where the person feels like, I don't have this, but you assume that I did, right? Because I'm going to show you that I'm in tune. So either, how can I help you have this? Is there anything that you need from me? How can I support you? Those things are all good, but it's in the context of you running your position, not in the context of me hoping that you'll body your position and body the other aspects that I think that you could be doing better so that I can feel better. That's the problem.
You're a quarterback and I'm a receiver. We're in the NFL. But I played my whole life at quarterback and I transitioned to a receiver. But now I realize you're not a suitable quarterback. And I'm saying, yo, switch with me because I could play quarterback better.
Sure.
And people don't want to relinquish that position.
Okay.
What is your, perspectives on being able to be, in sports, they call it's labeled as an athlete, where you could play multiple positions.
Got it.
Rather than just one position. So what is your, insight or opinion or thoughts on somebody who won't relinquish their position when somebody else that they're with, they may have met them playing a different position, but in all actuality, they can play that position better than them?
Sure.
That sounds like a trust and control issue because in the beginning, if she was a quarterback is who basically throws the ball, they receive. The quarterback has to understand where the receiver is going to be. And the receiver has to trust the quarterback that he's going to get the ball to them in that position. So if you're trying to switch and I don't trust you, then I don't trust you going to get the ball to that position. You know what I mean? So it's
like, nah, I'm cool. I'm going to keep my position.
Yeah. And then if that's the case, then why are y'all even together? Because if you're not going to align, then you shouldn't even be on the same team.
So what happens because this happens too. Now we trade positions and the whole ship sinks, right? And it's like, I don't know, because I've never seen you play another position before. So yes, I'm not trusting you technically in a general state, but realistically, I'm not willing to lose. I actually would just go with what we already know. A lot of people don't like to operate in the unknown. Right? So I'm not switching with you because I don't trust that you're a good person or that you're, the position that you're capable. I just don't know because I've never seen you operate in that space. And right now we're on the brink of losing everything.
Yeah, that's healthy communication is necessary, right? So what I'm hearing you say is there are people who don't know how to get their needs met in a relationship. There's a need, there's an identified need. And do I know how to communicate to my partner in a way that is going to help them concede so that I'm getting my need met? So in this case, what the need that I would like to be met is for me to be able to identify a strategy for our relationship, right? We're going to just use finances so that we can all be on the same page. All right. I identify that, I would like for us to have, get whole life insurance or start a trust fund or something to that nature. And this person is like, I only like my dollar bills in the mattress. I've been living like that all my life. I don't trust no bank. I don't trust no institution. Right. So, and this person is like watching all this information about how to use, whole life insurance and a trust fund and create their own bank. And their intention is to think about their children's children. And they do trust the bank institution. They do trust technology in a way that this person only trusts their mattress. In this regard, what has to happen is you have to have a conversation around what it's providing you. So, and you have to let that person know off the bat what they do well in the relationship that works.
For example, let's just say you are dating another person. You both are in a relationship. You both have jobs. And one person's like, listen, let's put all our money into this pot or this bank, whatever it is, and I'm going to be the one to actually deal with the finances. One quarterback distributing the ball, aka the finances, to the team's needs, which is both of your needs, right? I feel like now we have.
What would the receiver do in that case?
Well, the receiver would be the one to say, okay, fine.
The analogies
the two
are
quarterbacks,
too difficult, y'all.
All right, so the two quarterbacks would be essentially, you have your own account, I have my own account.
Okay. So a relationship.
You pay that bill, I pay this bill. Or you pay these bills, I pay these bills. Whatever the agreement is.
I think that it still would remain the same. It wouldn't be like two quarterbacks, because even if you have two separate, honestly, it's just like a regular relationship, non-marriage. You guys work, you guys have your own separate accounts. What are you doing in the household, or if you guys live together, and what are you doing? It doesn't have to be the same job. You could be paying the rent. You could be paying for all of the other smaller bills. That's usually the case, right? That's what they say. Like, that doesn't have to mean it's the same job.
But why not?
You can have different jobs.
So look, but hear me out. Why not put all the money into one account and have one person worry about the headache of all those bills, whatever it may be?
I'm not saying no, but you asked the question. I don't think that that's two quarterbacks.
Again, it sounds like based on trust and who is the stronger person in a relationship with the finances, who has better history with the finances. For example, like my girl, she has invested in real estate and she's an accountant and she knows numbers and she knows money and she knows how to save. And I'm the mattress man with the money. Yeah, I'm the shoebox guy with the money. Right. And so she'd be like, oh, well, what happened to this? And I'd be like, oh, I spent that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I know that realistically, like, I trust her more than myself as far as like if we have a plan down the line. I would rather just give her the money up front. So I think I'd rather just give you the money because I know what I'm gonna do with it and you know what I'm gonna do with it. So in this instance, I'd rather give that to you and I trust you in that department. But I'm gonna need the exchange of trust to be me guiding you through this relationship emotionally, because like I'm the more emotionally sound, more emotionally regulated person. So if I trust you with that, you got to trust me with this.
Think about the person who's a quarterback as the person with the power, and the power is the money, right? So can you relinquish your power, but still go to work and put that into an account where one person is going to be the facilitator?
Sure.
Right? Are they going to pay here? They could pay there. They can hand it off there. Do you have enough trust in your spouse to relinquish the power and allow them to keep the ship sailing in the right direction? Mm-hmm. I'm saying, based on the analogy, most people that I've seen on social media, no, they want two quarterbacks, but you can't have two quarterbacks at the same time.
Well, social media isn't real.
I was about to say, I think you just hear talk, actually.
But like, think about it.
Are we talking about people getting on social media that are actually in relationships saying that they want to quarterback relationships?
Well, of course,
Or
the whole
is it just like hypothetical? If I
No,
get into
Amanda-
a relationship,
Amanda, I
then
just-
I'm going to do X, Y, and Z.
Well,
Jesus Christ. I would love for us- let's just think about
You said a key word of spouse.
spouse or relationship. We have
No,
it.
there's a huge difference.
No, I'm saying both of them. I'm not
I
saying
think spouse is different than that. I think you automatically know that we are coming together for the greater good once we become spouses. In a relationship, I still don't trust you with my shit.
Listen, we have, and I don't like having to do this, but I will. We have had a last 20 years of women saying they need to have their own. They need to work. They need to have their own savings account, their own bank accounts. In a sense, that is another quarterback. Okay, we've been having 2 quarterbacks for 3 goddamn decades. Okay, so I'm not gonna go back and forth about hypotheticals. This is the reality. There's 2 quarterbacks trying to play. There's 2 people trying to have control. There's 2 people trying to be the decision maker, right? And I'm not saying that one person has to be not heard, but there's 2 people trying to call the shots. But there's only one real ball, right? So what I'm saying is there enough trust? I'm saying from what I'm seeing, there's 2 quarterbacks across the board. Nobody trusts each other in a general spectrum in America specifically, where they're gonna say, yo, listen, I'm gonna work with you, even if we're married. I'm seeing marriages. We had a situation here on 8 at the Table where the woman was pocketing money because her mother referred or recommended her to out the count, right? So you're still not trusting your spouse.
Right.
There's still 2 quarterbacks.
That's because people don't know how to choose the right partner. That goes back to alignment, purpose, agreement, unity, harmony, right? If we have all of those things, then you shorten the gap of trust and you shorten the gap of transparency. Transparency means I'm going to offer up information to you that you couldn't have known to ask, inquire, discover without my prompting, without me notifying you, right? So that's transparency. We're living in a day and age where people want to have titles. They want to have a wedding. They don't want to have a marriage. They don't know what a marriage is. They don't know who they are. They do not love themselves. Therefore, they cannot love their spouse. And we're blaming it on the context of marriage, but the content inside of marriage are 2 flawed people who are undisciplined, right? Lacking in training as far as what it means to be a spouse or a parent. They don't know anything outside of anything of what it means to go to school and be a puppet master and follow instructions. And we're taking these 2 people who are untrained and undisciplined and placing them in a very, very responsible position of being husband and wife, in that context, right? Because of course there can be many different types, but with children, and expect them to perform. You're not taking anybody off of in New York who looks like a quarterback and putting them in the NFL. No. And that's a team that you have without training them, ensuring that they're disciplined, giving them a playbook, running the plays, and ensuring that they're following the plays. I sound like I know what I'm talking about with sports just now, right? But I really don't.
You going.
Right? You're not doing that in your right mind. No one would, but that's exactly the marriage that you're referring to. That's what it is. We are taking people off the street, having not followed a playbook. We don't know what playbook they were on. We don't know what team we're on. We don't know anything about anything except I don't want to be lonely.
I want to love.
I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be alone. That's the crux of the matter of why people are getting together. Most of the time, some of the relationships that work the best were people who got married based on purpose, right? A shared purpose, a shared vision, and a shared responsibility around how that gets to be executed, right? Because we can have a shared vision, but it doesn't mean that we want to go that way the same way. I need to know that the person that I want to be with, we want to go in the same direction. We want to go in that same direction the same way, and we want to go together.
So are we saying, or are you saying that the ideology of love or the desire of whatever love is overshadowing purpose in a marriage today?
Yeah, I think that there's consequences to everything in life. And part of the consequence of doing something new is that we have a buffer season as we're trying to figure it out. So originally it seemed as though people were kind of like transplanted and placed into marriages that they didn't have a lot of choice around, right? So that they were assigned into a marriage. And since then, when we have independence, we have more independence, now we have the opportunity to select our own partners without the influence of our families, friends, and our community. I'm making this decision on my own, and I'm relying on me being able to do so with my own wiles, right? Most men who care about the women in their life, right, would prefer to have met the man that she's choosing. And most men who care for this woman in a platonic way, right? Sister, daughter, or whatever the case is, doesn't trust that man in the way that the woman is trusting him on the front end. A man has a certain process of proving that needs to get done. And that strategy of a man approving of a man has been eliminated. There's no screening.
I mean, listen,
Right?
Violet, don't get no ideas.
So, right?
All right?
So there's
I screened well.
So there's no screening, and nobody can screen a man better than another man, right? So if
Can you
I'm,
say that one more time? Because they don't understand that part.
why wouldn't they? No one can screen a man better than another man, right? So most men know that when a woman is in a relationship, he's paying attention to see how gone is she in the brain, right? Like, does she have the capacity to even know if she selected a good man or not? And most guys would agree that a lot of women fail at that. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so we all agree there. That screening process has been eliminated. And we have people who are independently selecting their partners with the hopes that they're doing it well. Now, statistics say that 50% of marriages fail. So at minimum, right, because the other 50% doesn't mean that they're healthy, right? They just didn't get a divorce. So at minimum, 50% of people are selecting the wrong partner. Does that mean that marriage is wrong? No, the context of marriage isn't wrong. What gets to happen in marriage isn't wrong. It's the content, the people inside of the marriage that may not be aligned. They are not aligned. They do not agree. They don't have the same purpose, vision, values. They either want to go in the same place and can't get there the same way, or they don't want to go with one another. Something went awry, or all things went awry. Nevertheless, we're living in the conundrum, in that pocket, in that vortex of having the independent opportunity of selecting our partner and now recognizing, oh, shoot, that don't work. This is not working. Something is wrong. We haven't come out of the phase of what is right. We're still presently actively analyzing what is wrong with today's marriages and why isn't it working.
What could it be? So let's actually touch on different variables within that, right? I mean, one good stat, or this is actually really proven, is when one person gets divorced, it does influence a lot of divorce around them within their inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that really is because you actually can see how other people live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes out of sight, out of mind is a real thing.
Right.
And if we all married, all we know is marriage. But when somebody is not married anymore, that's in our circle, and then we're like, oh shit, I forgot how fun being single was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you have to battle those temptations of, yo, he's in Colombia again. He's in DR again. I swear to God, I have a friend who's recently got divorced. Very close friend. Been friends with him for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You will see a man smile in a way you haven't seen it. You forgot he can even smile like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, what the hell's going on? It's like, yo, I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tempting because I think at the end of the day, what we all want is some type of happiness.
Right.
Right? And even if we are fulfilled, sometimes fulfilling can actually be, you know, our norm where it's unappreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we want something new.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have somebody who is now recently single and you're kind of living through them, then that's when you kind of engage in the same tactics, and then divorce can happen, or you start sabotaging your relationship. You're nitpicking now. You were perfectly fine before your homeboy got divorced.
Right.
Your homeboy got divorced, and now you just start complaining every day.
Yeah, you don't have your standards, right? Like I have some, there are some acronyms that are out there. I didn't make this up, but there are some acronyms around being a husband that you honor, you understand, you know, you support, you build up your wife, you align with the word of God, you nurture her, and you defend her. That's the acronym for husband. Honor, you honor her, understand her, you support her, right? You build her up, you align to the word of God, you nurture her, and you defend her. Gentleman that put that acronym together, I don't know his name, but he was a man who made an acronym for husbands. That was the context of. He said, "I have one for wives."
Man did.
You have one.
I do have one.
Okay,
for
let's
wives.
hear yours. Thank you.
I didn't do wife because I didn't have enough letters, and I know how you guys will feel.
Yeah, because
You'll be like, husband is long,
We're gonna
wife is short.
Let's do wives end. All right, we'll add a couple A and D's on there.
So for wives, she wins him over with her conduct.
Okay.
Right? She wins him over with her conduct, not her speech.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd go with that with W.
Right. That's a W. Right. So she initiates intimacy. Right.
Thank God.
For V, she has victory over her emotions.
Oh, they need more than that. Keep going, preach, sister.
Right? So for E, she encourages him. She esteems him better than herself. Right. This is scripture. and S, she submits. There's leadership.
Where's the part of getting money?
Man, trademark that. Yeah, trademark
Right?
that. That's you.
Right? So if I live inside of the standard of being a wife, right? And I win my husband over with my conduct, and I don't rely on my intellect and my words. I rely on my feminine nature, essence, and being.
Behavior,
Right?
yep.
And my behavior, how I entreat him, how I receive him, how I respond to him as soon as he comes through the door. Right? How I study him and pay attention to what he likes and doesn't like. And instead of challenging him, I flow with him, right? And I do that. I initiate intimacy sometimes. He's not the only one tugging on me. I tug on him too, right? Right? I have victory.
Sometimes. So why is that a part of the acronym? As if that's like
You
our job.
had husband, HUSBAND, and you worry about wives.
5
No,
letters.
Yeah. No, I liked
I-
everything that
Sure.
was said for husband.
I'm sure you
Of
did.
course you did.
No,
That's the problem.
yeah, I
That's why
did.
he only made husbands. We had to have a woman make
and
wives.
I love that a man did that. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying
Fuck.
for the I, why is it
Initiate intimacy.
right?
Mhm.
And not to say that women shouldn't,
Mhm.
but why is that in there as if that is
It's
A thing
important
that
to a
women
man.
don't do.
no. Like as if it's supposed to be a role for us. Because you said sometimes
It
in
is.
your statement.
Just to wrap up, to go back to what you were saying in terms of like when they bounce out of their marriage because they see that somebody left theirs and now they have the chutzpah to go ahead and leave their marriage. My response to that is that person doesn't have their own standards, right? If I have my own standards of being a wife, I'm not really dependent on anybody else's response to their divorce. Do you know what it means to like stand firm in your position as a wife or a husband? That requires a lot of like energy expenditure. I don't got time to watch what you're doing over there. I don't even have time to study if that's even a consistent smile or not. Right? I'm not worried about you.
It's a smile for the gram.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Yo,
My
it's-
standards.
Yeah, I ain't never been on FaceTime with him. Trust me. It ain't on the gram.
But are you saying that your observation of this person now being happy has you question whether or not you want to be single again?
What I'm saying is that, and this is something that I've realized, especially, and I can't speak for women being single, but for men being single, men who typically, were the, breadwinners of their relationship, right? I see me, and I have a few friends that are now divorced, but one that is as of late. I see what I've categorized as the release of an adult responsibility off of their shoulders, so they're able to fly, float, they can do whatever that they choose.
So
right?
to the worker, that's like retirement.
What? Oh my God! You just said it in the way I could never ever think about. He retired, and now you can see him living. He's living the fucking life, right? So like, sometimes you look at it like, damn, retirement must be fun, right?
So in terms of trauma context, right? Because when I hear the word relief as a coach, I automatically think trauma. So just to preface it, okay? Well, there was just like the essence of it. So like you said, like there was like this sense of, to me, when I watch body language and behavior, it can kind of correlate to certain words. The words that I picked up when I saw that response that you have when you kind of like lean back and hunch, almost like a sigh, is relief. I look at that as a relief of tension, right? And that's what happens when we're living in trauma. So in our body, in our physiological bodies, we all experience trauma and we have primitive responses to that trauma: fight, flight, fawn, freeze, right? And so in the animal kingdom, because I need to get to the animal kingdom in order to get to us as human beings. In the animal kingdom, when an animal realizes that they're in danger, their adrenaline, everything starts pumping. That animal has to take off speed. They don't have time to analyze and assess. They got to run. But what the animal kingdom gets to do is when they realize that they're in a safe position, they get to go into a corner of safety and they pant and they relax, right? However, as adults in the human world, when we experience like the desire to flight or to flee, or you're in a relationship and you don't want to be there anymore, that's triggering the trauma response to take off, to flight, right? You can't. So what happens is you're experiencing the adrenaline, you're experiencing panic attacks, you're experiencing all of this rush, but you don't have an opportunity to go into a corner and pant and relieve that tension. So what your friend was experiencing more than likely is what you would coin as a remittance of adult responsibility. In my coach brain, I'm thinking he has a relief of tension. The relationship was traumatic and he was in constant fight or flight mode in his relationship. And now that he doesn't have to engage in that, he has bandwidth to think about and plan other things that he wants to do.
If that was the case, that means every single divorce that a man has where he had then experienced happiness after his divorce means that his divorce was the pivotal moment where he was basically in fight or flight mode, right? But not necessarily, it could be, hey, listen, we just weren't working.
But not every divorce is the same, though.
What are we talking about?
Are we going to talk as men? Is that what you're trying to say?
Thank you.
What?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I'm saying
it's not
as-
real.
As men, like we have a saying, I'm sorry, you might have to bleep this out, but the only thing better than pussy is new pussy.
New pussy, sure.
Goddamn.
That's his relief. That's his relief. And like we didn't even get all to the trauma. It's like that. I'm free. I can just gallivant and do what is in my heart to do without.
Yeah, but I'm bringing to the conscious what's subconscious. Nobody walks around saying I'm in fight mode. No one walks around saying I'm in flight mode. I'm bringing what the subconscious response that the body has. I'm making it into a conscious conversation. Doesn't mean that doesn't happen, and it doesn't mean that will happen to your friend. Alternatively, right, for some men that men don't get to experience is that you guys need a lot of escape, right? Like that is a natural response that men need, and I recommend it, right? Especially if you're in a household with a lot of feminine energy, a lot of responsibility, you need a moment to decompress and to detach because men are good at that. There's nothing wrong with that. It should not be villainized. We shouldn't be expecting men to do more of it. Men don't necessarily need to use as many words to speak as women do, and I don't recommend that they should. I think that we should allow women to be women and we should allow men to be men. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying that in this, what he's sharing, his friend's relief or his excitement, his happiness occurs to me as he had a bad marriage. That's the layman's. That's the layman's.
Didn't, though. That's the craziest.
That's the layman's terms.
The crazy
with
thing
you
is
on
that he
that.
didn't. I was trying to tell him go back home.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like,
on that.
yo.
What made him not want to be in a relationship?
I'm going to tell you. So the thing is, and this is something that as a man, I don't think women will ever understand. There is a responsibility. It's just like work, right? 95% of people probably don't want to go to the job that they go to, but that doesn't mean that they hate their job. Some do, some don't. They just don't want to work every day. I want to work one day a week, right? That's it. I don't, I love my job. There's very, very long periods of time where I don't want to be at my job, but that doesn't mean I hate my job. Doesn't mean that my job is causing me trauma. No, but consistency is the hardest thing for a person, and being consistently, tied to a responsibility without the release, right, can then form a relief once it's now done, aka retirement, aka divorce. So they actually didn't have a bad marriage. They were actually the thing that we kept telling ourselves we wanted to be.
Goals.
Right? Floyd Mayweather had an interview when he retired early, and they were like, yo, why are you retiring? You're still capable to be the great. You're still capable to compete with the best. And one of the greatest things that I've ever heard in my life was, I wanted to retire from the sport. I didn't want the sport to retire me. Right? And I look at that in tenfold and across everything. As a person who loves their job, who loves their craft, and loves their marriage, I think that men would just operate better if they were able to have periods of no responsibility, right? So what you're seeing is just the fact that I don't.
And what would that provide them? I don't think that what you're saying is so nuanced that women would never understand it, which is why I was kind of caught off guard, because I think that it's very understandable. I think a lot of adults feel like adulting is ghetto, right? So
I don't want to use the word ghetto. It's just difficult.
I'm just saying, like, we would like to take a break from it, right? So what I'm saying is that...
But does that make it traumatic? Does that make... See, this is the thing. We get to a point where we label things with negative connotation words.
Yeah.
And we assume that because somebody wants a break, they experienced trauma, they had a relationship that they didn't, thrive well in, or all these different things. But it's not necessarily the case.
What I would say is, let me have 30 minutes with him and then I'll tell you. Because I don't know what you're saying to him. You have to remember, in the context of men sharing information, that sometimes when men are being vulnerable with other men, they get heckled. Their experiences get minimized, right? They're grouped into certain. I don't know how honest and transparent he is about his experience of being a husband. I don't know what it's doing to him, so I can't really. He's not here. What I can say is most marriages that end in divorce are not ending on happy terms. Most marriages that are ending is because at least one person feels like they have to. If somebody has to get out of something, most of the time there's some sort of trauma there. Any person, male or female, who says that I have a great relationship and I want to leave it, we have a separate kind of conversation that we want to have. But overall, what I would say is that he does not understand the blessing, the birthright, and the burden of being a husband. And he opted out of that because he likely does not have standards around it. He does not have a vision, a long-term vision and plan for it. And so it was easy for him, or the easiest thing for him to do, or the thing that he could do, was to leave it. Because if you have a vision and a plan and you know who you are, you know what you're doing, and the intention is to do it to completion, then he opted out before it was complete. And I don't know why.
In my head, I feel, and I'm no statistician or scientist, I feel that the fact that women are raised up to want marriage, right? And we are the ones that give them that marriage because we have to propose, we have to get in the ring, we have to do everything. I feel that for us, we've accomplished that. And that is a huge task. We have given you what you desired since a little
Our freedom.
right? And I think in exchange, we do want freedom within that, right? So I think for us, we just look at things differently of like man and woman. So I think that's why we live longer, because we feel like we've accomplished our task. We fulfilled our role as a man. I'm saying just as a man, if I married you, I know that like I've given you that dream. Like I've achieved that dream and we're doing it together. And like now I want to do everything you want to do. You know what I mean?
But this is the problem. We
weren't born with this dream though. We weren't raised with this
we
dream
never
of
gave a
marriage.
fuck about marriage, bro.
But
That
let's
is not
just
true.
take away
I'm talking about, like,
the dream. I'm
today.
giving you what you always wanted. If you're going into a marriage saying, I'm giving this to her because this is what she wanted,
I'm
and
saying
now
subconsciously.
now the task is done,
Of why
that,
we live
like,
longer.
are you that committed to being there for the
No.
rest of your life? And that's
No.
the problem.
I agree.
That's the problem.
That's to state that men live longer in marriage, and they're comparing it to men who are single. So we're talking about longevity as far as years of your life. We're not talking about quality of life. When we look at statistics, we got to be very, very careful because we don't really know. You have to be sure that what we're communicating is what they intended to measure. We're not talking about necessarily quality of life. We're talking about the longevity of life, right? And they live longer in a marriage. So we have to ask why. Maybe the construct of a man requires that he have something to live for. And that is why he lives longer in a marriage than outside of a marriage, right? Maybe part of that context is that he has a partner that is concerned about his health and well-being and ensures that he is on top of his health and his well-being in a way that a man who is single is a little bit more lackadaisical.
How often do single men go to the doctor?
It's not
Or the
actually
dentist?
false. That's actually proven as part of the correlation.
But what I'm trying to say, the
why
reason
y'all
why
don't live
the
as
reason
long.
why I say that is false, and it's not false, but it's false in terms of today. You know why? Because you're comparing a marriage and you're comparing people who are probably born anywhere between the 30s to the 70s. That has nothing to do about kids who are 25 years old who now have the world at their feet.
Wait, why did you say that?
What are you talking about?
The 30s to 70s.
He's talking about.
He's saying that
when
the con-
studies
he's
were
saying-
done.
he's
The studies are for
it's
people that are
outdated.
not of this
saying that
generation.
they're outdated.
They're severely outdated.
Yeah.
By 2 to 3 generations outdated. Yes,
No,
they
that's not
have
true.
to be. Because it's every 15 years is a generation,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going to assume if the average death age is around 70 and I'm 30, that's about 40 years, which is nearly 3 generations back that we're talking about. This study is really assessing. They're not assessing 50 and 40 and
Well,
30-year-olds.
you can't do it for a 25-year-old because
But
they haven't
that's-
hit 70
so
yet.
what I-
25-year-old has not yet hit 75. So we do have
Exactly
to
my-
wait for that to happen.
But now that's why I'm trying to say that those stats, and I hate when we do this, we take stats that do not correlate for the time. The lifestyle of in the 90s versus the lifestyle in the 2024 or 25 is completely different. Therefore, this man and the duties of life and the accessibility to life and what to live for did not possess the same today as it did 30 years from now. Therefore, those stats are severely outdated and they do not not fit with today's time frame in the gentlemen that are in the ages of 18 and 40 or even 45.
Okay, right. But that's not. But like,
So like, what I'm
right.
saying is, I don't want to use those stats today with this specific conversation, because they can. Yes, are they real? Yes. Do they fit today's time frame? No. We will have to wait another 30 years.
What would be the comparable question then? Because her question was different. We can't use that question in that context because time hasn't elapsed.
Exactly.
So
but
what would be
that
the new question?
the new question would simply be realistically theories, right? It's not. It's going to be what's the theoretical. We can't use stats to something that don't apply.
Sure.
You know, we're comparing apples and oranges here. So for a 25-year-old person who can now go and live in Dubai and then go live in Thailand and then go live in all around the world, Europe, and experience the world and live a joyful life, could potentially live to 99 years old.
Sure.
Right? And then in 40, 50 years, we're coming back and saying clinically, well, they were wrong or they were right for that time frame, but they were wrong in terms of what their reasoning were. Mm-hmm. So let's just actually stay on topic with what's actually happening today, because today is completely different than what's happening before.
What I would say is that, to your point, right, where we don't have enough data to come to a conclusion, right? But what I would say in today's day and age, based on our lifestyle and based on our inability to be united and to align, it seems to be a struggle, at least in the social media world. I would say marriage is dangerous for both men and women. That's what I would say.
I agree.
I would say that we need America to go on pause for a second. We all need a quick, we got to regroup and come together and redefine a lot of different things, right? Because a lot of the methods that we're trying to utilize, they are outdone, they are archaic, they don't apply. My parents were never thinking about going to Dubai. You know what I mean? My parents, that wasn't part of their checklist. And if you don't have that part of your checklist, then you don't have tension, right? So if you don't have the money to not go to Dubai, it's irrelevant, because that's a tension that doesn't exist. That is a present tension that we have today, and tension and trauma and all those things that impacts our heart and impacts our mind and impacts our quality of life. So I do agree with you there. So I would say, yeah, marriage today and age, if you're not married right now, marriage is dangerous for you.
So in your expert opinion, what is the reason that some women won't submit or obey a man? Do you think that it may be because they're waiting for the one they really want to be with?
Mm-hmm. So I think that's a really good question. So there's a spiritual answer, and then there is a mainstream answer. I'll start with the mainstream one. So the mainstream answer for me would be that, yeah, she probably... There's a disconnect. There's likely a disconnect, because some guys can be a really great guy, right? He has a really good. So as an example, I know someone who recently approached me. He wants to work with me. He's good looking. I looked at his page. If that's him, right? He occurs as good looking, right? That I would say universally attractive, right? He's universally attractive. He has a good paying job. He was divorced before, but he has learned some lessons. He's learned a lot about life. He's older now. And he is looking forward to being a husband. He's not just looking forward to having a wife, which is very different. So he kind of checks a lot of the boxes as far as what I would say would be considered like a good guy, right? A good man. And yet he's having a really hard time. Being able to have a woman and keep a woman, because of that tension, that tension that exists around being able to move forward, right? Because how can two people move together if there's no agreement, right? Where there's no agreement there isn't any submission there. In those cases, sometimes what I do believe is happening in mainstream America, at least, is women are allowing men to take up some of their time. They're taking up some of his time to avoid the experience of loneliness, right? To see if maybe, maybe she's given a couple of guys a chance that maybe she shouldn't have, and she's just trying something new, but he just doesn't do it for her. He's not him. Right? He's not Himothy, as we say, right? He's just not it.
As they
say, right? And in those cases, yeah, I recommend that he let her go, right? Like if someone is giving you a hard time as a man, if a woman is giving you a hard time as a man, you cannot build. And this goes into the spiritual side of it, because the word of God says that how can two walk together lest they agree? Now, why do I think that in a spiritual context, women don't submit to men? I think that in a spiritual context is because those men who subscribe to Christianity specifically, right? Because that's where I come from. They do not submit to God. There is a natural order that exists. And it's kind of like, for example's sake, a really great leader has had to been a really great follower at some point. right? Like he understands what it feels and looks like to follow somebody's lead when they were doing right and when they weren't doing well at all. And when you're following somebody's lead when they're doing right, trust gets established and reestablished and reinforced over and over and over again to the point where you can execute decisions outside of consulting that person because you know how they think, you know what they want, and you know how to deliver it. Versus being under somebody's leadership that wavers a lot, that seems to not connect, it can be a little bit frustrating and annoying. And so it leaves you becoming more independent. You start to operate independently of that person. Now, when a man of God has a relationship with God that he hears from God, he senses things from God, and he makes those decisions, he has a reinforced relationship with God where he trusts God. But if another man is trying things out with God and he's trying to build and establish a relationship and he feels like God is one of those leaders that I hear you sometimes, I don't hear you, he loses trust with God. Both men and even men outside of the context of marriage, you like to throw around the word submission. But that word submission is a right that a man inherits and he earns. He doesn't really just get it because of his gender. Submission is something that comes from a biblical format, and there's a process to earning that. And the first part of submission is that a man is supposed to submit to God first. And then second to that is the word of God actually says that husbands and wives should submit one to another. Submission is not for men and women. Submission is for husbands and wives. But we've mainstreamed it to illustrate what men are craving. And what men are craving is being able to build and have some partnership in order to build. But there's a lot of nuances there, right? But overall, do I think a reason why a woman won't listen to a man is because she's interested somewhere else? Yes. I also think that sometimes people get a little bit petty and he may not be listening to her, right? So I'll say this and then I'll close, right? Because I know I'm kind of going on. But leadership, the same way that a man wants a woman to accept his leadership, so much so that it allows him grace, right? As a man, no man wants the pressure of being perfect in his leadership. He is going to drop the ball a couple of times, but he just wants her to have enough grace to understand that even though I dropped the ball, know that I'm man enough to pick this back up. I need you to trust me enough for that. The continuum for that is a woman in the essence of her, which is her intuition, sensing, feeling, that is without evidence, where men lead in leadership and logic that supplies much evidence or tangible, right? Just tangibility, where women operate in a realm of the unseen world. And she needs him to trust that. So when a man resists a woman's intuition and her feedback and he won't take it, he like resists it so much, then she relinquishes her desire to submit to his logic. So an example of that is if a man is thinking that he wants to open a business, he's opening a business and his wife says, yo, I'm really feeling and sensing that you should add this component to your business. And he's like, nah, I don't want to do that. She then says, hey, that friend that you have, that homegirl that you have, it seems like she like you. Nah, she don't like you. Don't know what you're talking about. And every time she comes with her sensing, her intuition, he continues to give her the Heisman. Eventually, a lot of women will mirror the behavior of her man. It doesn't occur to him as that. It's not happening consciously for him, what's going on a subconscious level, but she's actually mirroring him. So when she resists his word and his leadership, she's also giving him the Heisman because he modeled that behavior and he taught her how.
All right, so I have a question for you. I want to ask Rome and then you.
Sure.
Both of you answer. I don't need Amanda's answer.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't talk to me.
And see, she's just modeling the behavior I taught her.
Right.
What percentage of women do you believe are coachable by their significant other? And then what percentage of women do you believe are coachable by some type of expert or professional?
Honestly, I don't pretend to know.
That's opinion. This is 100% opinion.
So
Speculation. Opinion.
So speculating, those kinds of questions are very hard because it's a blanket statement. You need a little bit more context. What I'm hearing you say is, this is how I'm receiving it. This is not what you said. This is what I'm hearing. What are the chances of a woman submitting to her boss versus her man
No.
in terms of expert?
No, by expert, I'm saying, let's say if a therapist, a coach, a mentor, I don't mean the actual like workspace.
Okay.
I mean like somebody who is certified.
advice.
Yeah, certified in that field to help teach, or, guide them to some type of healing or, something to be, pushed forward for their self-development. Now, sometimes it's not the significant other that is able to do that. Sometimes it is, or sometimes it is somebody who has some type of, professional certification to do it. So
Sure.
my question is really a two-part question because, yeah.
So again, it's still pretty challenging for me because I'm thinking about several scenarios. But what I will say is that I can see a lot of women taking, subscribing to someone where there is a lack of familiarity, right? Where they don't see that person in their vulnerability. I can see a lot of women resisting, like when she gets comfortable with a man or any person gets comfortable with a person after a while, they stop taking them so seriously because it's just like, I already saw you, I already see you. Versus someone who has a certain stature and a certain divide where they occur as like, this person knows what they're doing, this person has the evidence of it, and I'm just going to go ahead and listen to that. I can see that happening a lot. I can see, again, because it supports, similar to what I've shared before, where there's feminine testing in the context of a relationship that doesn't really happen in that expert dynamic. So I could see it being heightened in a relationship than if that person is, is like beyond 6 degrees of separation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm just judging this based on a person-to-person basis. I've had the fortunate experience to coach kids. I've also mentored some people who are now adults, and I've realized that majority of people are not coachable. They're not coachable, not by somebody who is a professional, not by somebody who is even somebody that they love. I feel like the only time that people tend to become coachable is when they get fed up of losing.
Okay.
Right? So now, the problem that I have is that sometimes we have this conversation where women are not listening to the man, and we can say there's a bunch of different variables. But the variable is that this person has been losing, which is why they're already at this point where they're being resistant. And it's going to take for them to get fed up of losing to then start being receptive to something or somebody. Right? So
is that your observation when you're seeing like girls in sports versus boys in sports?
No, I'm just saying, no, now I'm outside of the sports spectrum. I'm just speaking in general behavior. Even if I look at people who made changes in their lives, they got fed up of the outcome that they consistently got. Whether or not it was a little bit better than the previous, it's still not what they're aiming for. So now they have to make a total transformation, right? Where they usually need some type of guidance. People are not easily guided anymore.
I agree.
And because of that, that's also a reason why that woman's not listening. It's not sometimes always just you, or that's also another reason why your man is not receptive. It's not just you. This person has not lost enough yet to a point where they can value something to actually be receptive or take direction. Some people will lose, and this is the reality. Some people are going to lose their entire life, right? Just don't be one of those people. You have to be coachable. You have to be able to take direction, because as much as we like to think we know it all, even if we have proven concept in our experiences, we still don't know what's ahead. And the variables change everything. So, I mean, that's just my personal perspective.
Okay, well, with that being said, I'd like to pose the question, do you think that the world is ready for women to lead men? And
The world or us?
Us, like on the couch?
No,
the
like
world.
America or the world?
That's a good question.
The America or the world? Fuck no. We're close to it though.
The U.S.
We're close,
I
but we're
guess
not.
us in the U.S. Okay, but before we dive into our answers, okay, let's roll the clip.
What you texting? Tell me come get my stuff.
No, you can move it to the White House. You voted for Trump.
Who told you that? Oh, Granny and them down there telling people who people voting for. That's the voter fraud stuff they was talking about.
Nah, ain't no fraud. That's who you voted for.
Okay, but you still not supposed to know that. That's violating my HIPAA laws. That's personal information.
And you can move it to the White House.
Bro,
like
get in
I
the car.
said.
Let's talk about this. This ain't even that serious. This between them.
What made you vote for him?
Because of the tax cuts he finna do. He trying to put money in niggas' pockets.
You ain't even got no money.
What you mean? I'm trying to get some. You already know he dropped them stimmies on us last time, and I flipped the shit and put us back on our feet. He gonna bring us back. We been fucked up, and you know it.
Oh, you doing it for a stimulus check?
You thinking small when you really need to be thinking big. He a businessman. You ain't even saying it.
And what Camilla is?
Who?
The black woman? You got all these black women around you, and you voted for Trump?
If we being for real, we talking about color. Orange is my favorite color. Trump is orange. I went with my favorite color. And she not even black. She light-skinned.
What?
If she was dark-skinned, I would have considered it. But she light-skinned. I'm not.
You're crazy right now.
I sound crazy, but you wanted me to vote for her just because she was a black woman when we got something different we ain't never seen, an orange man. So what he doing so wrong that you so against?
He taking away women's rights.
What rights?
Like abortion.
You don't even believe in abortion.
But it's still a woman's right.
Now it's a woman's right. It's 4 kids in the house that I didn't even want, that you had anyways. Trying to figure out how my political views is affecting our relationship.
Well, it do affect us.
But how though? How? It's not my fault. What the fuck? What you want me to do? Take my vote back?
Yes.
I wasn't to decide and vote. 82 million other motherfuckers voted for him. Damn, if you leaving me go, I hate you. I'm fucking God. Martin Luther King for my right to vote. This bitch trying to make me do whatever.
He said I wasn't even the deciding vote. It was 82 million niggas that voted for him.
Hey.
Yeah.
I got a couple Plan Bs in the house in that top cabinet. Go ahead and take it back.
But the question still remains. Do you think that we are ready, we being, I guess we're talking about the United States, are we ready to be led by a woman? Woman. Okay, what say y'all?
Are you ready?
We've been ready.
Who's we?
Women.
You said that's what the fuck I'm talking about. I
Said it right that time again too, right?
Yeah.
Women.
I think you did.
I'm reminded of, and I hate to use like a show example, but like shout out to Olivia Pope and her Daddy Pope.
Love that.
Right? There's like a really infamous scene where he says, I believe, by the plane, he said, we have to work twice as hard to be half as good. In that context, he was speaking about race, but in this context of being a woman, she would have to be remarkable and impeccable. I mean, it would have to be an undeniable, it would have to be indisputable, it would have to be, ridiculous on our part to not allow her to be in leadership. And I don't see that happening anytime soon for America.
Who has the control in your relationship? And if financial responsibility equals control, does that mean she has like a leverage in your relationship?
I can't afford to have decisions made based off of emotions, or have some decisions that are made for me are completely emotionless. And it's just, this is how it has to be.
What if she possessed that capacity?
She doesn't.
Okay,
I'm not talking shit. I mean, she'll tell you.
That doesn't have anything to do with her being a woman, right? Or is that just her being who she is?
Who she is. I have met women that are emotionally regulated and can do this, would be able to handle that. But then there's other aspects of them that I don't like, because they may not be able to, just because they're emotionally regulated doesn't mean they're not a tyrant. Like they can abuse you in other ways. So what I have is, it's cool for me. I mean, I know how to balance it, and I know what part of control I want and I'm comfortable with. I don't want 100% of control.
You don't want.
I do not want that.
Okay.
I don't want to be a dictator. I want to be the general at what I'm an expert in. I don't want to be a soldier at what she's best at. I think now we have the tools and we have therapy for, both men and women. Mm-hmm. And I think diving deep into therapy, a woman or a man can look at their partner's family and realize where the issues stem from. Yep. And that partner is so close to the family that he or she can see that that'll never change. Mm-hmm. And she's getting a preview of what it could be. Mm-hmm. So I think that could be also contributing factor to like why our relationships are very surface right now. And this goes back to like how dating isn't so quote unquote intentional. If men are complaining that they're paying money, right, and women are complaining that we only want sex, then it could look like, how about this? We both come together, we split our check. I know it's 50-50. We split our check, and then we don't have sex because now you're not giving your body to me, and now I'm not expecting you to give your body to me, and I'm not expecting to give any money. So we're both even. So it could look like that we're meeting each other in the middle of what you care about most and what I care about most. I'm not saying I care about money most, but I'm saying of what we are both bickering about on the internet all the time about paying for dates and about he only wants sex. A 30-day relationship protection plan. You and your partner, or not even your partner, but you and who or you are interested in, you don't exchange anything but conversation.
Time.
Yes. So you pay your half of the date. I pay my half of the date. We don't have sex. Even exchange for 30 days. And by that time, we should get to know each other. We should know about each other's finances.
Mm-hmm.
We should know about each other's likes or dislikes. And it's at a level where there is attraction, because that's why we're both here for that. But it'll be in a deeper, more conversative state.
Mm-hmm.
So after 30 days, we can decide if we continue it or we don't.
So my question is, once day 31, is he paying and she putting up?
What is that?
Disgust me.
We had 31 days, sweetheart. Is that splat?
I know that one.
You know? And I paid the
He
date.
killed me with that one.
Mm-hmm.
30.
What happens
So-
on day 31?
So day 30, the clock resets. We're now technically at day 31.
Midnight.
Right. Strikes midnight. He needs help. Dr.
Yeah.
Phil,
He's
somebody.
horny.
Right.
We need release.
Right.
So.
Right.
You know what time it
About to
is.
be on that sleazy special sauce type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you ate a lot of food in the
Right.
past 30 days and got a little buildup happening. No, I think on day 31, you should be able to come together and
Oh my God.
it's basically like,
Is that
it's
when
basically vetting. We vetted each other for 30
Yeah.
days.
Mhm.
And
Fine. I agree with it.
there's no,
Okay, one thing I did want to say about your protection plan is I think that these should be free dates and not getting into situations where they have to go 50-50, because then
That's
that
fair.
still causes for conversation of, well, I think that a man should pay for, like, let's just take that all out of it. Let's just do a fucking picnic. Or let's, I don't know,
Yeah. I
go
like
get
it.
coffee.
Hiking.
And like nobody cares about the $1.50 for fucking coffee. So
yeah, but
it's like,
all right, so that's
that's-
3 dates. Were we going to eat leaves for the other
but
5
space
dates?
them out.
Picnic or-
Space them out.
Okay.
30 days.
There's actually a great place in New Jersey that I'll put you on game with. I have it on my TikTok saved, and it's 100% free, except for they have a gift shop, and it's a beautiful thing. You'd want to go.
So we're talking about sightseeing. We're talking about
Yeah.
hiking. We're talking about
Quality time.
adventures.
Potlucking a la
Look,
picnic.
I'm not, whoa, potluck.
Potluck a la picnic, technically. Meaning
Yeah.
she's bringing some stuff, he's
Okay.
bringing some stuff, right?
Not just
That's
random.
potluck-ish,
Picnic,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
So
Right.
so there are free options available.
In 30 days, that's 4 dates once a week.
Well, that's whack. You would need more. But I
Yeah,
think I
4
like
dates, you
free
need more than
dates
4
simply
dates.
because it forces you to be creative with your partner.
Right.
You know, and I
That's
think
not your
that's what,
partner yet.
well, it forces you to be creative with the person who you have some
In
type of
mind.
interest.
Right.
Yeah. Of
Mhm.
I just feel like if you're just meeting this person, 4 dates to me is enough. You could get creative when that's your girl. All right? Save them. Keep them in your pocket for when shit
you might
get
not
real.
make it out of. You
what I'm
might.
saying.
You might not
then
get to
can
day
save the
30.
shit. Then you can save the shit.
But that's the problem. We keep on holding on things and never giving them, and then wondering why. Well, not you specifically, but wondering why things are not going in our favor. We got to be able to come with our best. If they're coming with their best, at least meet them.
Yeah, I think that being the new landscape for dating can work totally. my thoughts are, again, what happens at day 31? Because that's easy. That sounds.
What the hell happened?
I don't know. Because I don't know if it's day 31 or do we reset the clock and now it's day 1.
No, she better have a
Right? Cause,
work or something.
Because now this is a new phase. What'd you say? She had workers' comp? What?
She needs to have work or something.
Oh, I was
It's like she has to have a valid excuse for day 31. All right. So
That's a lot of pressure.
it
Day
is.
31 can simply be like, all right, now he's taking you on y'all real first date. Not the like real, but like
A paid date.
a paid
date.
date.
the
And
investment.
you can
But
you
you
can
know
get what
after
you
that
get
paid
after.
date,
No.
you better come with some.
So either we're gonna say that sex is sacred, or we're gonna make it just completely casual. And if so, then we just gotta blot out traditionalism. You cannot have traditionalism and then make sex trivial and casual. They don't go together. So either sex is sacred, and we have a perspective around women who just give it up easily, and they are typecasted as a woman who gives it up easily, or we're looking forward to our women holding out and not really giving it up easily because we're practicing traditionalism. We're talking about 30 days, right? That's 4 weeks. That's 4 dates. That's 4 times of being around her, right? Like, that's not a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Do I
There
really
really
like you?
isn't.
See, if I really like, well, I'm just thinking me. If I like you, we going on a couple dates. It ain't gonna be just one
Yeah,
a
but
week.
it's like it's not limited to just 4 times in a like
but that's
we're
the-
talking on the phone, we're communicating
Yeah.
maybe every day.
Getting to know each other.
Every day.
We
Like
might even Netflix and chill, but really chill.
By that, we have to
that's a
think
date.
that we have to think like in real life terms, right? 30 days without spending money, without having sex. You know what that means? That means we have a lot of bandwidth to do a 30-day trial with multiple people. So to what you're describing as
You just added a variable.
I'm saying let's be honest, right? Because part of the reason why we kind of stick with what we're sticking with is because one of the things is women are pair bonding, and the other thing is that men are making financial investments, and he may not want to spread it out as much, right? So I'm here, I'm cool, I'm vibing. What's the point? But if we're eliminating those factors, yeah, new variables do come up, and that new variable that comes up is that I can replicate this experience with multiple men to see which one lands with me. Because I can go to I can go to like the carnival. It's the admission is free, and maybe I have a great time at the carnival with him. But when I'm with him, it's just like, nah, I actually like going to the library with him, right? Like I get to see like what version of me do I appreciate the most, considering what guy I get to spend some time with. The only thing that I'm really making the investment in is my time. So with that concept in mind, is that being the framework and the foundation, what we're saying as 30 days is being a long time. How many partners are we sleeping with at day 31?
Well,
You understand what I'm saying? What if I'm feeling several guys? How do I decide now?
well, that's the problem, and I don't
that
think
changes
in the RPP,
though.
the terms and condition, it has to be if you're seeking a monogamous relationship, it should be a monogamous form of dating, which means you shouldn't be dating multiple different people for those 30 days.
Or conversating with them.
Yeah, at all. Yeah, you're supposed to be dialed in, focused on whoever it is that you're dating for those 30 days. Simply because the problem that happens is that same woman who likes the carnival, but then at the same time likes the library, she's being fulfilled in multiple different areas. And then when one of them is stripped away, she's not realizing what's lacking. And it's the fact that somebody was fulfilling a different area in her life. Rather than actually saying, okay, let me actually, focus on this person, guy or girl, doesn't matter. Let me actually date them for, 4 weeks. And if in 4 weeks I feel fulfilled with this person, or I can see myself feeling fulfilled with this person, then I continue past, we get to paid dates and potentially sex.
Okay.
Right? I think that's what it has to be.
I can date several people in a 30. Yeah. In a 30, we just described friends. I can go out with a bunch of friends in a month time. Understand what I'm saying? There is no financial exchange. There is no sex. There's no sexual exchange, right? There is some level of attraction. We're just going on dates. Right, exactly. See, now your facial expression is sharing with me. I'm looking at the producer, by the way.
No, I'm talking about actually being interested in somebody outside of sex. So when you include other people and you say you're going on dates with other people, then we could just cancel the protection plan. Just cancel that.
Why? Nobody's having sex.
Yeah. So why can't my body be a temple like your body's a temple? Like you're telling me that
no one's having sex.
perfect. So if we're not having sex, can we at least share an interest? and say, hey, I'm only into you and you're only into me? Or is that way too far
That's
left?
But I'm saying
world.
the whole the
But we're making
what's
it
what's
so.
the
If you
no
start off
let's drill.
Let me just give you guys the understanding what could potentially happen with this ideology.
Okay.
If you start on day 15, November 15th with Rome, and you start on November 30th with Rico,
There's a 15 days time span.
yeah, which means in the middle of me dating you, you might be fucking. So it's a problem.
Well, that's like, okay, that's fair. That's fair, right? Because how do we elapse the time? What I'm getting at, part of what I'm getting at is, what is the point of protection plan? Is it just protecting money? Is it just protecting, not like a body count? You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that we have to decide, okay, how are we maximizing these 30 days? Because we're talking about these dates, but how are we maximizing it? And what are we using as that demarcation to know if we're going to start a new day one? There is no day 31, right? Because otherwise day 31 is just more of day 1 through 30. So there is clock stop, right? Phase is over. Phase 1 is complete. We're in phase 2. What does phase 2 look like? Is that now the opening of like a sex now on the table, or is there another level? How do we know when somebody is worth it for a man, for him to be investing financially into a woman in her life? And when is it okay for a woman to break the barrier of the sacredness of her body and say, you may now enter in open sesame?
I think the 30 days of interest is something different than you've been receiving. And if we're doing this, you're probably tired of what you've been getting. So I want you to be committed to this 30 days. So you involving somebody else.
I understand.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's a level of interest that you have in me,
Right.
because you've already tried to date Rico,
Right.
On the 15th. And well, I wasn't talking shit. I was just talking.
Not her.
No, you said you came on the 30th. You've already dated 2 guys in a month.
Okay, you're right.
But if we're on this protection plan, then like, let's protect our common interest of being in a monogamous relationship.
But I thought the basis of that was that she's not giving sex, and the common interest is that we are not giving what we prize the most on an individual level. I owe you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't owe you any money.
Mhm.
I don't owe you any sex. Shouldn't we also thereby put on, I don't owe you exclusivity? Otherwise, we're not dating, we're in a relationship. We're just
It's a trial.
Yeah.
It's a trial.
Oh, it's a trial relationship.
It's a trial. That's what it really
30
is.
days is the trial if we're getting to know each other, like further past that. That's what I'm saying. Like that has to be part of the conversation as well.
Then I don't like
No,
it.
but you
I'm
can't
not mad
call,
at you.
but no, but you
I
can't
can't do it.
call this
A trial relationship is crazy.
You're dating,
crazy.
in the dating
I think it's
phase,
I think
you're
it's-
getting to know each other. This can't be seen as a trial relationship.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
crazy.
because you don't even know.
I think
maybe
you're putting the
you're
word
not
trial
even
relationship on it, which is making it harder for you to say, hey, listen, I'm trying to get to know you and just you. I do want to have sex. We do want to have sex, but I'm going to take those primal urges away,
No.
and I'm not going to spend this. And you say, okay, well, I'm not.
guys-
What if within the 30 days you gave me the ick? So on day 31, I
got to
don't
know
want
the
to have
person.
sex.
That's the whole. So the whole strategy is to protect you from getting into a relationship that won't serve you.
Pause one moment before you go on.
Okay.
Which is why I declare that for this protection plan, that there's the opportunity to date more than one person should occur. Because if I'm in a vacuum of being with one person, everybody knows if you spend a considerable amount of time with someone and you replicate this over and over and over again, you do stand the chance of having a little bit of blindness. You do stand the chance of like not really being able to see their flaws. What you actually need is the opportunity to be able to compare.
But you've
Right.
had that already. That's how you got to the.
We haven't said that that is happening. And even so, right? When I go to college, you have to get 120 credits. I do not take one class every single semester because I want to put all of my eggs in that basket, because I want to give all of my time, dedication, energy, and opportunity to be able to study every single article and the syllabus that my professor provides. I have about 4 to 5 classes. Why? Because I don't want to be in school for 10 years versus 4.
Well,
So-
actually, it's also because you have prerequisites that actually serve no purpose to your actual major.
I'm done.
And in this case, those other people that you're dating are those prerequisites. So why not just imagine if you could go to
I don't know
college?
that yet.
But what I'm saying is they are though, because the odds are.
to not.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. That's
you're
part
just
of the agreement.
this is like masters, okay? So in your masters,
Still taking 3 to 4 to 5 classes.
but everything is on the same exact subject,
It's
right?
not.
All right. Well,
The subject is us, and if we're
It's
gonna
not.
if we're gonna do this. or
No,
not.
what you guys have done is you guys have massively manipulated exactly the very framework that a lot of gentlemen like to do. If the strategy only allows for one person in that vacuum, you're setting, remember, let's put it back into context. Let's get back to the origination of it. There are two different distinctions on what a woman and a man is protecting. A woman is protecting sex, right? Her body. And a man is protecting his finances.
his wealth.
Right? His wealth, right? That's the argument. That is why we have two separate items on the table. What I'm saying is any woman that is likely healthy in a vacuum, maybe it will not affect a man, but a woman in that vacuum of being with one guy, of course, she's not going to think to herself, we've just gone to day 30. I'm going to try somewhere else. She's pair bonding. So this guy could be very well be not the best for her. So what would she be able to make that comparison to?
So you
that framework doesn't work for a woman. A man can compartmentalize. A woman is going to look to connect. So if a woman doesn't give sex because that's her protective interest, because that is what is sacred for a woman. What is also sacred for a woman is the time that she's investing in a man, because we do not have the same capacity to compartmentalize the way that you do. So that puts us as a deficit. So if that's our deficit, which is that we don't get to have anybody else in the relationship, then you need a deficit in this program or this strategy.
Wait, time out. The deficit?
Yeah.
When a man decides to say, all right, I'm going to commit in a monogamous relationship, it's a lifetime deficit, right? You understand that? So now if I'm saying I'm going to do it for 30 days, he's also having the same deficit as you. You guys you're both sharing the same deficit.
She's speaking from a physiological.
No. A man can compartmentalize in a way that a woman cannot, which is why.
Scratching my lip.
So we have better discernment, essentially.
I would say in a sense. Okay.
I won't argue if we're better. I'll just put my sunglasses on.
Please do. You can't put a woman in a like I said, in a controlled environment and to which she's receiving all these things and then expect for it to just break.
But what if she's not receiving them? What if at the end of the 30 days she isn't receiving?
She wouldn't. She you need context to be able to identify that.
She's saying they're easily manipulated.
Yes,
but by time and quality time.
And men know that. Men know that. That's why you be like, yo, y'all hanging out a lot. Y'all, you sure?
It's like this.
Like we know.
So what would be our?
As a matter of fact, there's a book. I can't remember. I think his name is Iceberg or something like that. Yeah, I believe so. He breaks it down, the strategy on how to get a girl. Date her as often as you can. Be with her as often as you can. Isolation. Be with her as often as you can. That can work for the gentleman. I understand why you guys would say, hey, no, why would she be distracted? Right? You guys can compartmentalize. And no, she needs the distraction.
But
she needs a little bit. I'm not saying a heavy amount, right? I'm just saying she needs a little bit of distraction so that she can discern. She cannot discern when she only has one thing to focus on.
So but that's a relationship.
Pair bonding.
It sounded like not you, but it's saying she needs a distraction so she can discern.
Yes.
To still pick the wrong nigga.
Is she?
To get us here, yes, because you got here.
Women don't date multiple people at the same time.
Yes, they do.
No, they do not.
Amanda.
No, they do not. No, they do not. That's why they have coaches. They have dating coaches that encourage women to do so. Women find it extremely hard to do that, which is why they pick the wrong Negro.
Nah, you know how many times I spoke to a woman in my life and they said, I want to let you know you're not the only person I'm speaking to. And I said, that's fine. It's the same here.
That's not that's a dude from the recycling bin. That's not a new person that she just met that with the intention of dating. That's someone in her rotation that she enjoys, she likes, she can't get rid of him, and he is probably very much a threat. I'm not recommending that. What I'm recommending is that the reason why we have this scenario of women picking the wrong man or the wrong Negro all the time is because women make the investment, right? Up front, they're pair bonding. We know what pair bonding is. We know what that looks like. In order to pair bond, there needs to be none other. in order to interrupt pair bonding, right? Pair bonding can happen phase 2. Phase 2, we could decide, I don't want nobody else. I'm focusing on you.
Okay.
That 30-day time frame, there needs to be a little bit of freedom in order for her to be able to say, okay, I feel most at home here, or I don't feel at home here. But shoot, if y'all going on dates 2 times a week for 4 weeks, 8 dates or whatever, you're talking on the phone all the time, she's not talking to anybody else. To you, that's the protection plan. To her, she's in a relationship at this point.
But what I'm trying to say, I think the part that you're missing is that she is not contractually signed to go and complete 30 days.
Yeah.
If they date 2, she don't like him, she bounces.
You're the same gentleman who said that you understand and you know women.
Yeah, but it's
Okay,
you.
so-
I'm a real like the
So-
difference
The
is
back of his hand.
Oh,
the difference is like, I'm not gonna lie, there's not many women experts. So for me, it didn't matter if it was 12 months or 30 days, I'm gonna come out a winner. But for the average man, right, they're not gonna be able to, it'll help filter out a lot of the bullshit. That's what I think we're trying to say.
Yeah, I don't see this on a mainstream level working for women at large if she's spending a time frame of 30 days in a vacuum with one man, giving her the attention, the time in that honeymoon phase, and thinking that that's what the relationship is going to look like going forward. Like,
but then what about the women that say they can only date one person at a time?
that's to your point. Why we have a lot of women that say they date wrong, they pick the wrong person,
Okay.
because they won't let go. That's why we have people that their Instagram account has let go in it, and they're talking to women.
Oh,
like,
shit.
learn how to let go. That's why that exists, because we know that women can't. So
Yeah.
we need to put women in an environment where they have the option to do so.
But that sounds more foolish. If you don't have the ability to let go of one, you're not gonna have the ability to let go of many.
That's ridiculous.
The only way that
If you understand women, then you know what you said doesn't make any sense.
the thing is they will let go, but they don't, because women are like the epitome of the green recycle can. Because if it doesn't work here, you're gonna go back and pick up the ones that you let go for me over there, and then try that over again. And you're just constantly recycling. But I also feel like if you want quality time, and you want somebody that's gonna actually be
Invested in you.
Yeah, invested in you.
I feel like for myself, and I'll speak for myself as a man, not all men, that's just confusing. Like this whole process of how you guys are vetting, but not vetting, and wanting to pick the right one while picking the wrong one because you were too close to this one when you should have had others, but you don't want to be around others. You can only be with this one, and then complain. And then now you're venting on the internet that you need to let go while talking to other women that are doing the same thing. That makes no sense.
It's diabolical.
So
outside.
you're thinking, what do you think a woman is going to do when we already know, and any man knows, that the way to wear a woman out is not through a lack of connection, but the opposite, which is to be very present, right? Which is to be very consistent. Tell me how you see this playing out for a woman who's with a guy who is showing up and he's very present, right? We're not even talking about his character being great or anything like that. We're just talking about consistency here. And we're talking about this in the vacuum of 30 days. How do you see this playing out? And let's, for the sake of this argument, say that he really, he doesn't have the best character. They're not really truly
Just said it.
in alignment.
Just said it.
Yeah.
Thank
What do
you.
you think is going to happen?
That would be your discernment that you guys claim.
That what?
He
He doesn't have the best.
that he doesn't have the best character.
No, that we claim that we claim what?
That you guys know how to pick them, and I'm waiting
No
for the
one
special
said
one.
that. Who said
I
that?
hear it all the time on the internet. Like, I'm waiting
Women-
for my special man, and he's going to do this
Women
for
are
me.
saying they know how to pick a man.
Yes, while being single and lonely or having a
Then-
deadbeat. Bleh.
Right. So no, they're not
Yeah.
saying that. If they're single, then they're saying that they haven't found him. They haven't selected him.
They haven't. This is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
They haven't done it correctly, is what I'm saying. It's because they're doing the thing that you're saying is being with a man, and then they're in a vacuum, right? Now, all we know is y'all want our time. Y'all want our quality time. I feel like that is universal with every woman,
tracking
quality
with you.
time, right?
Tracking.
So if I'm giving you quality time and you're telling me that in that quality time, you can't see that my character is shit, who's to blame for that?
When you're in that, understand, right? We already established that there are some things that men don't want to sacrifice in the beginning stages of getting to know somebody because that's an investment that's not fair to be making early on. We established that is finances for a man. We also established that for a woman, what that looks like is sex. I'm saying to you as a woman, what is going to happen? It's not up for debate. I'm not asking you. I'm sharing with you the reality. That is not a healthy opportunity for a woman. It's not. It might sound like a good plan for you. Just like there are nuances that you have as a man that you understand that a woman may not be able to relate to or completely understand. I'm saying that it's on the same continuum, the same sacredness as sex. You're creating a vacuum for her to pair bond. His character in question is going to become blinded in that because it's giving last man on the earth. That's what it's giving. If I'm in an experience where I'm with the last man on this earth, I'm here. Like we here.
I mean,
So then how do y'all pick them? I'm so confused.
I do.
we don't want to. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to pick. That's like, I'm to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't want to love two people at once.
I agree. I
hate
think that's
that
crazy.
shit, because it's like, it gets difficult.
Right.
So what happens is, what I always say to my friends and even to my younger self, when you like somebody, that's the one that you really focus on. Whatever else comes, it just comes for the time frame that it takes to learn you or the whoever, right? So from a man's standpoint, and there's actually studies that we actually probably dropped in 2018 about this. When a man had sex with more than, I think, 25 or 30 women, they're more likely to be, there's more like, there's a higher chance of infidelity, right? He's less likely to be able to commit to an actual monogamous relationship because now we're comparing experience and normalities to a new reality.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that we're talking about here. We can consider it pair bonding, but literally 30 days. Now, I can understand if you're with them, waking up and seeing them every day for 30 days. That's entirely different than you go to work, you maybe go to the gym, or you may have a couple hobbies that you like.
You got to talk to women more. Poll them. Ask them. Poll them. You guys are so certain. I'm telling you.
Right,
I'm saying this as a fact.
Let's do this. Ladies, let's just, I don't need to add. I got chat right here. All right, chat. If you are a woman, please enlighten me and my good friend Rome. Is 30 days of approximately 4 dates.
Minimum 4 days.
Minimum 4 dates.
Yes.
Minimum 4 dates, which is once every weekend. Is 30 days enough time for you? And I'm saying you're solely focused on this one person that you're dating.
And you like him. You're attracted to him.
You're attracted to him, and you're learning if you like him or not. Right? We're not saying they don't like him out the gate.
We're getting caught in the semantics because I think when a woman goes on a date with somebody, you're saying I like him. That's
no, they're not. They go on date for food.
That's the impetus.
Like they going on dates for food.
Well, we're not doing that because the money's off the table. There's no food here.
We're going on a date because we find you attractive.
Yeah.
And I will agree.
Right.
I'm going to see if I like you.
I'm going
to attract. No.
I don't like you yet.
Exactly. I'm attracted to you. I don't really know if I like you as a person yet.
Fair.
I'm physically attracted to this
We're
person.
learning you.
I figure if we're doing a 30-day run, right? On some level, we had some conversation. I'm not just meeting you.
Yes.
No. And that's actually what I wanted to say because protection program aside, how do you guys start the buildup of dating someone? You can't
this is not day one. I meet you. I'm like, yo, 30 days.
Right. I like you at this point.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
No, it's day 3. You have 72-hour window. I get your number. I say, listen, we talk for a couple of days and we're like, all right, cool. We're still talking 3 days out. First of all, if you still talking 3 days out, that's a lot of interest, right? Now, on that third day is like, hey, I would like to propose something. For 30 days, for the next 30 days, I want to really focus and get to know you. I would like for you to focus and get to know me and see if we're actually a fit. I won't speak to anybody in that 30 days. You won't speak to anybody in that 30 days?
Full stop. Because that's where y'all feel trapped. Because a pair bond is what you're saying? Because y'all feel trapped.
Yeah.
Potential pair bond. when we say we're going to focus on you, you have to focus on us?
So it's not trapping, right? I don't want to say trap because that has other aspects
Vacuum.
to it. Yeah. What I'm
It's a
saying,
trap.
no. What I'm saying is that the propensity, the likelihood of her getting sucked in is high. So there's no more protection, is what I'm saying.
But
I'm saying
good, though.
I'm saying there's that protection piece is now gone. It's no longer a protection plan. We are officially dating. A woman is not looking at it like she's counting down the clock to see like, how am I going to get out of this, or I can get out of this immediately, right? We're talking about somebody who is being fed and they're being given something by somebody on a continuous basis. It's going to register to her like, I'm here, I'm with this. This is where I am. This is what I'm like. This is what I'm digging. Is he going to have flaws? 100% he's going to have flaws. And she's not going to be able to discern, are those flaws to walk away from, or are those flaws that I just willingly accept, because nobody is perfect. She's in a vacuum. Like, I can see anybody. In other words, a woman is more vulnerable there. What I would suggest, right, if we were going to alleviate some of that vacuum, is these 30 days are not just dates. These 30 days is we're having all of the uncomfortable conversations.
Yes. Getting
Right?
to know each other.
So
now you're in my brain.
So okay.
So now I'm sucking you in more? Because we're
No.
We
We have
sucked
to
in each other,
No, we
but
have to. We have
I'm the
to. We have to
suspect.
define for the people,
Okay.
right? What those dates are, because dates can occur. Like, we get caught in semantics.
Do you remember? I just want to make sure that we're understanding this.
Mhm.
Back in the day,
Mhm.
you know, if you dated more than one person as a woman, you were considered a hoe,
Mhm.
right? What I'm saying is, back in the day, the women had the discernment, right? So you're telling me, because back in the day, a woman wasn't dating 4 guys at once, right?
How back?
I don't even think they had, according to what she's saying, they didn't have the discernment back then anyway. There was all
Yeah.
proximity of who they were dating, or
Yeah.
who was around them.
And who
So
they
it
were.
could have been anybody. So there was, she's saying they don't got discernment in so many
Yeah.
words. She's literally saying, we have no
Yes.
discernment. Stay away from us. Don't get close to us, because we're going to be sucked in by your charm, and we're going to be blinded by everything you got going on.
But do you know? But yes, pretty much.
That's a
Do you know
reach.
how? That's the thing. Do you understand how hard it is for a man to be consistent? Like, I don't think you get that part, right? As hard as it is for you to have discernment as a woman,
It's hard.
is as hard as it is for a man to be consistent.
Well,
You know, think about how many men fuck up. Like, I've unheard it on 8 at the Table,
Mhm.
thousands of episodes.
Mhm.
How a man basically shot himself in the foot because he couldn't get the date right. He couldn't get the fucking date right. He came to the date with a hoodie and then left her and didn't even open the door. Stop it. Stop it. It's not one
I was
time.
not left anywhere.
Okay, this
But
is
you get what I'm saying?
That was
Yes.
made up.
So the consistency is hard as fuck for a man, and he's getting no box. Look, I'm gonna tell you something. A man that's getting no punani for 30 days, you're gonna see character in 14. In 14, you're gonna see him acting. He might start scratching.
I don't
Yeah.
agree. I don't agree, only because the man who's proposing this plan is, I'm saying this man is set. He's in his purpose. He's driven.
okay. So we're adding context.
No,
it
Yes.
helps.
he's
Context
a criminal.
helps.
Think
You
about
gotta
it.
stay.
Context helps.
What,
He's
what
a
I'm
criminal.
saying is, at the end of this 30 days, I'm into you, right?
Okay.
I'm doing this because I see potential in what this could be, and I want to get to know you,
Mhm.
nobody else,
Sure.
right? So I'm not focused on nobody else. So you thinking that it's the money play, but like I'm literally not wasting my time. I'm taking my time to focus on just you.
A lot of men would
Our
appreciate.
time is very important to
Yes,
us, not
and
just us.
And a lot of men would appreciate exclusive attention from feminine energy. We're talking about on average, because we're proposing this plan. I'm thinking about on average, the average woman, what is the propensity of her experience going to be like in that vacuum? For the average guy, yes, long-term, consistent, exertion of quality time. I can see that because it could like expire at some point. Can you do it then? I can totally see somebody fiddling around for 30 days in a honeymoon phase, right? And that may not be all of who he is.
Mhm.
I think that we need to add a little bit more. What I'm recommending is, let's add a couple more ingredients to this 30-day
Let's do
plan.
it.
If no one else can be on the table.
Okay,
What do you propose?
I'm open with mine. I'm
We
open
Okay.
This
we're
is
not
more
spending
of a
money. They're not giving us
30-day
sex.
Yeah.
trial
What else
Right.
you got?
and not
Right, okay.
dating.
I recommend that. Have you ever seen like those like lists on Instagram, and they're just like, these are the things that you got to discuss you know, and relate, like before you like commit, like whatever that dirty dozen, you know, thing is.
Let's name one. Let's talk about your goals.
Finances.
Goals, finances.
Like honest to God finances, honest to God debt.
Like credit scores, all that.
All of that. Uncomfortable conversation. Now we're talking about a protection plan.
All right.
Yeah, things like that. That needs to be added in. Not just we going to the carnival, because remember that's how we were talking about. Like we're going to free things. We're going to free things.
Carnival
We're
ain't free.
spending time. So the entry, right? Like when they have like those rent, like in the South, you know, like they have like this random.
That shit $25 a
But we're
ticket.
talking to the people. We're talking to the people, right?
I
Like
got you.
feel me?
Yeah, I'm with
You know,
you,
we're
I'm with
going like we have to add some. Okay, cool. We had the foundation. We got some of the beams. Let's go ahead and put in some plumbing and some electrical situation up in here.
Conversation.
Exactly.
All right. So we got conversation. We're agreeing that I'm not spending money.
With transparency in the conversation, not just
truth.
Yeah,
Yes.
but not just like fluff conversation. Oh, you look
Absolutely.
great today, bro.
Right.
Nah,
Thank you.
Yo, listen,
Yes.
my credit score is X, Y, and Z.
It's 690.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
Mine, not mine.
conversations.
But like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fluff.
Huh?
I said real conversations.
Correct.
What
What
the
is your
fuck is your
purpose?
purpose?
How do you want to get there? Right? Like, what do you think that you're here to accomplish on this earth?
What have
What
you
is-
achieved so far?
Yeah.
What has been
Woo!
what has
Yes.
been your greatest accomplishment? What
See-
has been your greatest disappointment? Things
Yes.
like
You
that.
know
Yes.
the questions.
Yes.
I'm
Good
44.
ones. The good
You know
ones.
how many he done asked this?
Yes.
This is
I'll be
Yeah.
serious.
this is a manual out here, bro.
Come on.
Nah, I don't be serious with them. I just use them.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Now,
They're good questions. You know how to do it. Mr. Manipulator.
I am.
I would say
Look
it
at
is
this.
it is a form.
Yes.
M.
That's why I was curious, like what phase 2 would look like. For me personally, what I think a nice, healthy relationship looks like is like in the first 2 to 3 months, y'all should just be friends. Why?
What do you mean friends? Hold on,
First-
time out. Because I don't even like that word.
Mhm.
Like when I hear like I don't have triggers, that is a trigger.
I don't have triggers.
That is a
Yeah,
trigger.
what does friends mean? Are we not having
Meaning-
sex?
Yeah, just the
that
absence.
friend sounds
The
crazy. to me.
absence. The
No.
absence of
As soon as you
sex-
call me your friend, I blocked you. I'm good to go.
the absence of sex and romance, right? With the intention of truly getting to know each other. And the reason why is because we like to re-engineer a lot of things. Then you get into marriage and you're like, oh, I want to be married to my friend. How? We've never been friends.
I
How?
think that we need to put a time limit on it.
Yeah, I don't
'Cause
even-
We could be dating and still be friends.
What I'm saying is that what we're dating when the dating happens for the secular world, then we're like sex is on the table, right? What I'm saying is give the relationship a moment to breathe, where we're literally getting to know each other, your sense of humor, your visions, your goals, your family. You understand what I'm saying? Like we have situations where people are like, nah, they can't be around my family, but your friend could. So this person that you're dating, smashing, having sex with, can't be around your family, but a friend that you met can come and get a plate of food. Like it's just all over the place. And this person is supposed to be having your child, being with you for years on end. Like just dismantle all of this nonsense and let's just treat people like human beings. If you cannot be around a human being and you cannot bring them around your family, why are you spending sacred time and space with them? Why are you arguing for traditionalism? If we want traditionalism, then let's be traditional. Like let's have everything be congruent.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm sorry to cut you off. 30 days.
Mhm.
I think that only because we have so much access to each other, but we are slowing it down, and now we're just speaking. We're literally
I'm with it.
we're
Yeah.
conversing.
Conversing.
We're conversing. I'm gonna get it.
But
We're conversing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna tell you what the truth is, and you're gonna tell me what the truth is.
100%.
And then from out of that 31 days, right? We might even make it 31 days. You can say on the 13th day, like, yo,
Right.
listen, your credit score 5, I
Right.
can't even.
Can't.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
100%.
So
No
so,
hard feelings.
So that's my thing with the pair bonding.
Well,
You
that's
can see
different.
what you don't like.
Well, that's
early.
different. The pair bonding is different now because now there's logic inserted into this. Like if a person, and speaking specifically to women, if a woman is in a space of logic and we're in a masculine frame of compartmentalizing. Now we have protection plan. That's what I'm saying. If it's just 30 days of romance, time, attention, his character could be shoddy. She might still give him a chance just because of the consistency. And I'm speaking for the majority of women. I'm not saying for myself specifically or anything like that. I'm just speaking majority of women. I coach people. I talk to people all the time. These are how mistakes happen. You ask them what happens. You ask them, how does a girl sleep with her friend. They've been rocking out frequently over the summer, just over and over.
Yeah.
Do you really like him? Well, kind of, sort of, not really. And then there are people who have crossed the threshold of marriage because they just spent a lot of time together. They just feel like it was just the next right step to do.
Here's the thing, and this is what I really want to get to. And this is so like there's solution-based. Aaron's not here, which you were providing. But now I want a prevention-based, preventative-based, right? Where is the lack of discernment coming from in a woman?
Projection.
Protection.
Projection.
She projects. Women are projecting.
Okay, I'm listening. That's just a real question because I don't understand it.
Sure, no. One of the reasons why the number one best person to vet out a man as another man is because y'all understand how y'all operate and think and move. Right? So your projection is coming from experience intrinsically and then group wise. You know locker room talk, right? Like you know barbershop talk. Those are places women are not invited to. Right? We don't know. Majority of women don't understand how men think, operate, move, regulate. Most women don't think you can give it to him on day 1 or day 631. If he has the intention of leaving you, when he get it, he can and he will. And it won't be an issue. And he won't be missing you. And he'll be fine.
Why are you smiling?
Because he's right.
Because it's true.
But
And
600 days is crazy. That's like
I'm
2
just
years,
saying,
but
that's the dude that's just he's just hovering.
he's hovered, and those are assassins.
Yeah.
Stay away from those.
Yeah, and he couldn't be all the more gratified, right? And then he can move on and he can live his life. And you thought that you beat the system by making him wait the 600 and odd days, and you've done no such thing. He was just hanging in the balance, right? I mean, I'm just saying. So what women are projecting is the fact that we think that y'all care on the level that we care. What we're projecting, right, is that there's something so special about ourselves.
Yeah.
Something so different, something that he can't resist because the way he's responding or the things that he's saying, we take it as if you and I were related, right? Like let's say I'm your cousin and I'm telling you all the things that this guy is saying to me about me. You think I'm dope. I'm your cousin. You really think I'm dope. But I'm telling you all the things that he's saying. In the back of your mind, you're going to be like, we'll see.
Nah, I tell you the truth. That
We'll
nigga,
see.
he
Right.
just want to fuck, bro. You better chill out. He ain't honest.
Right. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I said like the best
But
person.
but the crazy thing is, you wouldn't even listen to me, and I'm your cousin.
Because we're going to project.
That's crazy.
Right. It's a projection.
So
What's a
it goes
cousin?
back into being coachable
People listen to their
and guidable.
But
I mean-
don't you have to trust the man in order to be coached by him, though? Like she may not trust you, even though you're her cousin. She may not trust your relationship advice or your relationship sense.
It
You
has
gotta
to,
trust me to be a man, no?
No, you have to trust on the level of your understanding. He can be speaking complete full English, but I may not be able to understand what he's actually getting at because it's so foreign to me. I can't register what he's saying. I don't have the intention of not being coachable. I have the intention of flowing, but it's just that I can't pick up what you're putting down. It's like if you end up using sports analogy to me and I didn't know, like, right, I was getting confused with the quarterback and the receiver. You're speaking English, but I mixed up the positions and from that interpretation, I'm like, oh, I feel you understand, and executed completely against what you said. Not necessarily with intention, but it's according to my level of understanding. So yeah, what made some of those traditionalism things work, the missing piece is that, yeah, it does help when a man who cares about a woman in a platonic way says that, yeah, this is a good dude for you.
I do think that what you're trying to do, not you, but I do think that what is trying to be done is you're trying to protect yourself from the elites, but there's no protection against them. You just got to know that the odds are in your favor, that you're really not going to run into them as often as you think.
No. If that's the case, then majority of women, who aren't running into the elites would be great with who they're picking.
No, because the thing is, they want the elite, though. That's the worst part.
That's what I'm saying. They're not getting them. Like, we've already established, everybody has said it, it's all over social media, it's all over the place, that women are talking about being able to be great decision makers, but they can't pick the right man. I'm only adding context to why that occurs. We're not saying anything new. I'm saying to you, what happens is that women are projecting feminine understanding and experience of love and relationships onto a man. Y'all don't operate like that. I'm at peace with that. I don't have an issue with that at all. I accept it. I'm fine with it.
Can you talk to them and let them accept it?
Talk to women about accepting it. I mean, y'all got to stop projecting. You know, you want if you want something in your possession, right? We don't own anything. We're only stewards. If you want to be a steward of a monogamous relationship, then it would behoove you to understand what you're stewarding. If I want to have the possession and steward a car, I need to know where the gasoline belongs. I need to know where the coolant is supposed to go. I need to know where the oil is supposed to go. I need to understand that when it's on the H, that's not telling me, that's not just a random alphabet number, like it's communicating to me. I need to understand how this car communicates. If I should so decide to put the oil where the gasoline belongs because that's all that I have on hand and I just want the car to accept it, then I really shouldn't be upset that it doesn't run and perform in the way that I wanted it to do, in the way that it was supposed to do. And this goes for both men and women. But in the context of picking a partner, you got to understand how men operate, how they work. The 90-day plan doesn't work, right? In terms of like not giving sex, it has nothing to do with it. In fact, you could be a really great woman and a man can have the intention of just sleeping with you, but your character, your consistency, and who you are make him change his mind. And the opposite is true. A man could sit there and decide, like, hey, I don't want to smash. I actually want to commit. But because of your character, because of your arrogance and your attitude, you've caused him to change his mind. And so then, yeah, you guys did have sex and he didn't really kind of just have sex with you and just leave. No, you kind of like created an open door because he decided that like, we're not in alignment for more. I'm not going to sign away. I'm not going to give you my last name. I'm not going to share in my wealth. I'm not going to share my vision and my plans because you're argumentative. You're not agreeable. Right. And you suffer to manage your emotions. And he's not going to, even though he was ready to get married, which is why sometimes what happens is though he was with you for 15 years, he met someone in 6 months and then he married her. Oh. The sooner, the quicker, the faster you accept it and respect it is the sooner, quicker, faster that you can begin to protect yourself instead of projecting onto a man how a woman operates, which is very different. This is why I'm sharing with you. While you guys are capable of doing that, you can do the 15 years of being with a woman over and over and over again and don't propose. You think a woman would want to do that? If she felt empowered to do the proposing, she probably would. Why? Because of the time invested.
Can you empower them, please?
No, I'll do it.
I don't want women to propose to men. You know, I'm on the traditional lens of things. You feel me?
And
so
she's a man.
You was with me for so long, and somewhere along
you
the
want
line,
women to propose to men?
I want whoever wants the marriage to fucking do it.
Yeah, no.
Like if you want it that bad, do it. Like,
yeah.
All right.
Let me add a little razzle dazzle to that and say this. No.
Thank you guys for watching today's episode. Thank you so much for our guest Cassandra from stopping by.
Yes, thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
you were great.
Thank
Yes.
you too.
And we love having you all the
Yeah,
time.
all the time, except for the
Story.
proposal thing. But we'll
Okay, Rico, don't get ahead of yourself.
work on it.
Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We are on YouTube, Instagram, Patreon, anywhere streaming. So catch us on the next episode. Bye.
Round of applause.